Creation of the MoShiach Soul Part 0. Hashem very first act of creation was before the main creation. This is an allegory of something beyond any human understanding and is purely symbolic. Hashem is one, and everything created is a figment of the divine mind of the Creator. The Holy Zohar talks about repeated created vessels. In today's understanding, this could be viewed as divine thoughts or divine thinking. So Hashem contracted himself and formed in his mind the MoShiach soul. This can be symbolically viewed as a mental birthing process. This occurred before any other beings were created. The MoShiach soul, like a magnet, was compelled to reverse the divine separation to be one with Hashem. Like a moth compelled to move back to its creator. This caused repeated waves in the mind of God. And so began the act of creation we all know in the Holy Torah. Once the physical universe was created, a physical body was made by Hashem, and Adam was created. Adam's soul now divided into two, a conscious and subconscious mind and soul, using the terminology of today. This gave Adam the illusion of free will during the day, and as he slept his Superman MoShiach soul is let loose on creation. The MoShiach soul is always Adam, and has traveled from one body into the next. Our sages teach us the MoShiach was Adam, King David, and will be our future king. The MoShiach as a man is just a human like you or me, and is a kind of modern-day Clark Kent. And acts as a portal through his MoShiach soul for humanity to grow and flourish. As every new soul entering the physical universe has to enter through the soul of the MoShiach. Therefore, all humanity, meaning you, me and everyone else, contains within us MoShiach DNA code. However, the MoShiach contains within himself the biggest divine spark imaginable. To enable him to function as Hashem Wi-Fi transmitter to all of creation. Most likely the MoShiach soul was in Noah, Abraham and Moses. At some future or past moment in time, the MoShiach soul will or has become self-aware. This will start a slow chain reaction as the subconscious and conscious minds undergo unification. This is a point of no return, as now the MoShiach will be transmitting 24/7, helping to plow the way for the final redemption with the aid of angelic beings in Hashem. And the MoShiach soul is somewhere in the world today. Patient 0. The creation of the MoShiach soul Part 0.1. I have been asked to speak more on this subject by personal request. The MoShiach is also known as the voice. I will try to explain as best as I can. The MoShiach, as well as using his voice like we all do from childhood. And it slowly develops over time to more sophisticated communication. The MoShiach is able to use his normal voice and also speak with a spiritual one also. He will be able to use them separately or in special circumstances, both at the same time. We all have the ability to use our spiritual voice, but it takes time. All newborn babies use this voice automatically, but as the main voice develops it becomes inactive. Now we know the MoShiach are there waiting for Hashem to identify him. We as a human race should prepare ourselves by at least attempting to activate it again. The simplest method is to find Hashem holy name in Hebrew. Rearrange the letters in your mind in the form of a human being. With the U as the head emitting a red light shining slightly, about a centimeter around your head. Then a Hey to cross over your chest and down both arms. This will be blue in color. But this time just the Hey letter colored blue. Next we have the Vav from your chest down the front of your body to your hips. This should be a yellow color and should emit light outwards a little more than the red. Finally, we reach the Hey again, that should form your hips and legs. This should emit a green colored light. When you are ready in your imagination only, activate downwards from your head down to your hips. Like in my other video on entering Gan Eden, if you should get disturbed, do not worry. Just repeat the previous steps again. No, with all the lights activated, say voice on and then voice off. This is acted in modern terms as a kind of spiritual update from Hashem. Now you can learn to use your inner voice for personal introspection and prayer to Hashem. You do not need to say voice on or voice off unless you feel you need a kind of spiritual reboot. At first you will not be able to stop moving your lips slightly. Do not worry, this is normal, because you are waiting for your inner voice to become easier to hear. Eventually, you will hear your inner voice clearly. This will enable you to pray directly from your soul to the Creator of the universe. Entering Gan Eden, Garden of Eden, Hashem Birthright Program. Entering Gan Eden for all of humanity. What I am about to describe is my own mental and spiritual travel to Gan Eden. Anyone can follow this path, work to come closer to Hashem. Find a location where you may feel comfortable, in a seated position. Hopefully, you would have heard my other lectures to prepare you for traveling to the higher Gan Eden. Close your eyes and meditate on being able to leave your body in your own imagination. Wherever you may be on Earth, imagine moving upwards above your home, city and country into space. Take a few moments to look down at the beauty of our home Earth, or the physical Eden. Now traveling past the moon and all the other planets, look back at our solar system. You are now ready to find and locate the first gate or black hole, being the end of Hashem, named the Hay. It will appear to be a black disk. You have to fly, for better use of the word, straight into its center. With the thought in mind to enter in peace and to travel in peace. As you enter, imagine traveling along a rainbow star tunnel. Suddenly, you will exit at this point and have traveled through the first gate, or outer gate of the physical universe, and halfway along the Vav of Hashem name, to be inside the spiritual universe. All you can see now is the next gate, or Hay, black hole. Enter the second one as you did the first and let go of all your past. If you were male, imagine you are Adam, and if female, Eve, before leaving Gan Eden. Now you will see a small dot of bright light. Do not fear this, it is all in your imagination, and you are completely safe. If you should get interrupted or suddenly come back, just simply repeat all the previous steps to this point. Try to remember we are in truth a figment of Hashem imagination, so Hashem is with you always. Approach the dot of light and imagine it is a spinning cube, but you can only see the sides facing you. No matter how you view it, it starts to slow down, and the bright white light starts to have color. As it slows, 4 colors will be noticed: red, blue, yellow, and finally green. The object, as you get closer, it will appear the size of a large tree. A crack will form as a door opens, with blinding white light pouring out into space. Do not be afraid, move closer, and the light will grow dimmer as if you are entering a room. This is a resting or waiting area. Once you are ready, find a white disc shape on the ground for being elevated upwards. Stand on the disc and imagine moving upwards as if standing in a lift. At this point, your whole body will start to glow a bright white transparency. Slowly, you will rise out of the ground into a white garden. What you see and experience there is total blissfulness, knowing you are now in the presence of Hashem, or GD. Just like Adam and Eve, our ancestors. A time will come when you will have to return back to Earth. If you should get interrupted in any way, you will be fine. This is a mental exercise to enter Gan Eden, or the Garden of Eden, with the thought in mind to enter in peace and to leave in peace. Repeated traveling will increase the connection between you and the Creator of all existence. The name and the hidden light of the MoShiach A special discourse for Tish B'Av 5780, to hopefully bring more and ever increasing light into our reality, to eventually spiritualize the known universe from the higher totally spiritual universes of existence. This is my own personal transcription on Hashem, otherwise known as the name. The name is made up of letters from the Hebrew alphabet, or Aleph Bet indicated, or language's mother alphabet, comes from Paleo-Hebrew script. That was written and transmitted by writing the Hebrew letters in the sand by means of a stick, and then erased again, but was never classed as having any permanence, due to being created by the most humblest of medium sand, which would naturally fall back into a neutral state of existence, like the rest of creation. Hebrew is read from right to left as if signally the right hand of Hashem. The very first letter is in the shape of a dot, symbolizing that Hashem is one, and all existence is contained within the divine mind of Hashem. We know that Hashem imagined existence in repeated waves of energy to become solidified into a divine sparks, or hidden light. This hidden light became fire, and on cooling produced water out of fire. As more divine sparks entered the now growing universe, air started to be formed, at which time a cooling process happened to produce earth. Hashem now had all the physical building block to continue the creation process as described in the Holy Torah. All this is symbolized by the humble Yud. The second letter is in fact made up of 2, a Dalet and a Vav. The Dalet being symbolic of a door, and a Vav being symbolic of a hook on which to pivot the door on to allow it to open and close easily. This was created to control the amount of hidden light and divine energy into the physical universe. After the third day of creation, the hidden light was concealed until the days of the rightful heir, the MoShiach and crowned king on behalf of the king of existence. We now come to a single Vav, once again another hook, but this time being symbolic of the flow of divine energy that never stops, but can, like flowing air made by fire and water, be channeled and, heaven forbid, reduced, but never stopped. Finally we reach the foundation of the universe, the final Hay, which has its own doors plural into our reality, which in my humble opinion are the existence of black holes, both macro and micro in size, crowning Eden, otherwise known as Earth. Hashem Final Living Temple MoShiach Series Part 21. A Muslim historian, Ibn al-Kifti, 1172-1248, reports nothing less than that the Rambam himself, on numerous occasions, voluntarily went to mosques to pray. Rabbi Obadiah Yosef witnessed prominent rabbis who prayed in the mosque at the cave of Machpelah. He then determines decisively that in mosques it is permitted to pray and learn there. What is an amazing revelation we can deduce from these facts? And my personal opinion only is that Islamic art and architecture combined with the Torah-prescribed design of the tabernacle and Solomon's temple would be the winning formula for the creation and eternal beautification of the final holy temple. Possibly, with the incorporation of the sunlight and starlight oculus directly over the Holy of Holies. The outside would be as imagined befitting the final holy temple in memory of the two previous with their designs incorporated in the final temple. Notice I never use the term third temple. My personal reasoning for this is by saying a third is leading subconsciously to a fourth, fifth and so on. We know this will be Hashem final holy temple. My all-time preferred name is Hashem living temple. Based on the facts that in Hashem's eyes he sees all working and functioning at the same instance within his existence. And therefore elevated beyond time and space. The Ark of the Covenant MoShiach Era Event Part 22 Rabbi Moskov, you are indeed correct about the Ark. At least in November 1995, was buried at the level of the Kotel Tunnel walk. I was witness to this as part of a group from Kibbutz Yavne that was allowed to do this walk before it was finally completed. During our walk many pictures were taken and one raised much excitement and awe. One of the group asked someone to turn around, and for some reason he did the priestly blessing hand sign as a picture was taken. Nothing more was thought about this until the images came back of the tunnel. All were perfectly clear except for one. You guessed it, at the priestly blessing one where a beam of light is clearly seen to be passing out of the wall across his path and into the Temple Mount at our level. There was no picture distortions, and you can see through the light and see the man who did the priestly hand sign. Since that time the Sanhedrin has built their chamber and court at that very same location. Just a personal reflection on your talk. Reply from Rabbi Moskov. Thank you, Karl. Amazing. My reply on a side note, and it may sound like the start of a really good joke but it is true. There was an Orthodox Jew, me, and an Ethiopian priest on a train for his personal safety. I will not give too much detail, but he could see I was an observant Jew. So I had to ask him after some friendly general conversation about the Ark in Ethiopia. He very politely explained that the church you mentioned is sometimes in Ethiopia, due to the country's borderline moving backwards and forwards. So I just asked him out straight, was it the real Ark? Knowing full well it could not be due to my previous comments. And he admitted on the train in public in a low voice that it was a copy only. After he said this he just seemed to lose all interest in any further conversation. This took place in 2019. The heart of all the world. On the seventh day God rested and saw that all was good. The foundation stone is the very heart of Hashem on Eden earth. 3 continents join here as if petals of a flower rose. On Shabbat we hold the Kiddush vessel as a symbol of this rose or heart of the world. During temple times as an offering of thanks or seeking atonement. We as a people nation in the ancient world recognized this holy place as their connection to their Creator. And built 2 holy temples to the God of the nation of Israel as his nation of priests. However, other kingdoms would want to supplant this location with their own copies. And with any copy would seek to edit and change it for how they interpreted it. Over many hundreds and thousands of years the memory of what once was became stuff of legend. But Hashem priestly nation never forgot their mission to proclaim the God of Israel. Over many decades Israel re-established its sovereignty in the world again. This would cause consternation within the kingdoms that had carved up her heart among the 3 continents of the ancient world. But the words of the Holy Torah would echo of an ancient long-foretold prophecy that all these events would come to pass. Looking backwards through time, this ultimate sacrifice to Hashem was required to spread the seeds of the Torah. And like any seeds they need to be forgotten and buried. Meanwhile, they break down and seek sustenance and energy from the world. Due to Adam, the first human king of the world, Hashem chosen MoShiach created by his own hands, souls of the world would come forth like drops of rain, covering the face of the world like the oceans of the sea, even ascending to the greatest mountain of them all, the moon. Hashem's spiritual heart all this time has never stopped beating, but ever so quietly atop the humble mountain Mount Moriah. No, in these days of darkness it grows ever louder, and now demands to be once again the heart of Hashem to the world. Can you hear her calling you to once again feel the pain of others around the world as they scream for salvation? The MoShiach in the Path to Teshuvah, Repentance. Part 30.3. This video is dedicated to Hannah of the Nottingham Hebrew congregation. As we approach Rosh Hashanah 5945, Please see the MoShiach as we enter Rosh Hashanah 5945 not 5781 part 30.1, the time for the nation of Israel and any members to withhold inclusion from anyone who seeks teshuvah is a very great sin. This is why our rabbanim state that sincere act of teshuvah have to be accepted. Then on passing away it is up to Hashem to let us all know if everyone's acceptance and requesting teshuvah were acceptable in his eyes. It is also taught that the MoShiach will not be made known until we as a nation accept requests of teshuvah and ask for teshuvah ourselves. So let me take this opportunity that I, Karl Yehuda Ben-Jedi, and including Hannah, an old widow in her 70s of the Nottingham Hebrew congregation, to be included within my prayers. Do humbly regret and apologizes to anyone, anywhere and in any time for any wrongdoing or sin committed within your eyes. Times 1 Do humbly regret and apologizes to anyone, anywhere and in any time for any wrongdoing or sin committed within your eyes. Times 2 Do humbly regret and apologizes to anyone, anywhere and in any time for any wrongdoing or sin committed within your eyes. Times 3 I do hope that all who hear this request will, as these high holy days approach, open up their lives and communities again to Hannah of the Nottingham Hebrew congregation. She is very eager to learn from you on her path of teshuvah. May Hashem accept all your prayers of repentance and teshuvah at this time, as we all await final judgment for the coming year. That gives us all hope for the arrival of MoShiach Ben-Dovid or Ben-Dovid. The MoShiach and the Sons of Abraham Part 17. As I have explained previously, the MoShiach soul was within Abraham, and due to this both his sons were both blessed for greatness in the eyes of God. One brother was the elder and the other was the younger. Once again we have to view all of this through the eyes of the Creator. The only way we as mortals can do this is by looking backwards through time. From the nation of Ismail and his descendants, God blessed them with the nation of Islam. From the nation of Isaac and his descendants, God blessed them with the nation of Israel. We know from the books of the prophets that the nation of Ishmael played a vital role in helping his brother to build both the first and second temples. And they also brought offering to both temples to the King of Existence God, also known by the nation of Israel as the name or Hashem, signifying his oneness as being all of existence, due to the fact that he just exists and everything else imaginable is just contained within him. The nation of Ismail has many kings, but the nation of Israel is still waiting for the rightful heir. Meaning in modern terms he must be able to prove he has DNA that links him as a descendant of King David, plus also have been chosen and anointed by Hashem, and contain within him the MoShiach soul. His mission is to build a final temple to the King of Existence. What is the function of the Holy Temple? It is the heart of the King of Existence in the world. And a heart without blood to flow through this gift from the Creator is just a heart of stone. To show our remorse and thanks to the King of Existence requires all to present an offering in the Torah prescribed manner. This will once again cause the heart of stone to beat as a heart of flesh, causing the gates of Eden, our side of the known universe, to shine its divine light, making its way into the universe from the Holy Temple into our world. It is a Torah commandment to build this Holy Temple, even before the MoShiach is identified to the world. The only restriction is that it cannot be fully completed. This can quite easily be accomplished by not fitting the doors until he is anointed king and accepted by the nation of Israel. In my personal opinion, only the nation of Ishmael holds the key to this happening. As per the first and second temples, they as our brother, if they desire to also give offerings to the King of Existence, should be allowed to take over this divine project and build the final holy temple on Mount Moriah and be truly blessed. The MoShiach in the Music of the Universe Part 24. Going back to the name and the hidden light of the MoShiach Part 14. Revisualize in your mind the name of Hashem, with the Yud being red, first Hey being blue, Vav being yellow or golden, and the final Hey in green. As you sing Nigunum or listen especially to stringed instrumental music, close your eyes and imagine your right arm as the right side of the Hey in Hashem name, moving over your body at chest height as if to play a King David's harp, cello or violin. Imagine the Vav to be the strings on which to play the music you are listening to or you hear in your mind. This will cause Hashem name to vibrate within you from your soul and out into the world. This technique can also be used during any prayer service you attend with others and by yourself, to build a harmonic bridge to the Creator of the universe. The MoShiach in the Spiritual Internet Part 29. Therefore, Hashem, MoShiach and the Hidden Ones must be working, figuratively speaking, overtime. We know from Rav Shlomo Rush that the Hidden Ones have informed him in person that 5781 will be a new chapter in Hashem existence. What possibly could occur is the spiritual rolling out of his spiritual internet for all humanity. Therefore, Hashem, MoShiach and the hidden ones, must be working figuratively speaking overtime. Any and all spiritual pushing forward at this time in LO 5780 is a little like climbing to the top of the biggest slide possible. To then in 5781 to enjoy the speed and path to download our connection to Hashem, that will seem to happen all by itself. Any extra and above normal efforts will transmute all gold into spiritual diamonds for eternity. Our true King Hashem is truly in the field with his chosen MoShiach for all humanity. The MoShiach as we enter Rosh Hashanah 5945 not 5781 part 30.1 Many rabbis are waking up to the facts that Hashem truly has concealed the arrival of the true MoShiach by over 200 years. Thanks to a new discovery by Israeli scientist Saul Kolak, whose careful analyses of time and the Hebrew calendar have opened up the heavens to the MoShiach imminent arrival. It is also taught by our sages that after the true MoShiach is made known, the world will stay exactly as it is today. However, a 40-year rehabilitation process will take place for the nation of Israel and the whole world. This coming Hebrew year bridges the secular years of 2020-2021. If we take away the 40-year period from the final 6,000 year, we are left with the year 5960. This is the absolute date for the true MoShiach arrival in 15 years' time, being 2035. However, the true MoShiach has to arrive even sooner than this date to make way for the building of Hashem Holy Temple in Jerusalem. Plus he needs to be recognized and accepted by the whole nation of Israel, which again could take years. So the numbers just keep dropping and dropping, and this is the reason why the hidden ones are coming out in their droves. Because the writing is already on the wall. Plus, in my personal opinion and many Rabbanim, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will great the true MoShiach while still in office. Which means the true MoShiach has to be made known in this coming year of 5945. The MoShiach Da Vinci Code Part 19. The final living temple will descend from heaven, meaning the sky. A very Jewish Da Vinci Code puzzle for how to build the final holy temple. In my own personal opinion, only we have been given a true clue for temple holiness. Let me explain what my understanding shows me. We have to look at our model of the laws governing a holy mikveh. That has the power to make someone Jewish and also turn something not holy into spiritual holiness. How is this possible? The mikveh is classified as being a natural pool due to the mikveh Torah laws and being connected spiritually to the waters of Gan Eden. A mikveh must be connected to a natural spring or well of naturally occurring water. This can be supplied by rivers, lakes that have springs as their water source. Collected rainwater is also permitted due to this descending directly from heaven. Also ice and hail. The sea can also be used as a mikveh due to being connected to natural spring water, finding its way there, and also rainwater, icebergs and hail. A mikveh contains enough water to cover the entire body. A mikveh has to be built into the ground to be classified as a natural pool. The Torah requires full immersion just like becoming an unborn baby. Now we hit the MoShiach Da Vinci Code. How do we cut and smooth the holy stone to rebuild the holy temple? I would argue we need to use the Torah laws pertaining to the mikveh to ensure each and every stone is fit for purpose for such a new wonder of the world. By using water technologies, using living water to cut and smooth each and every stone block. Once each stone is cut and smoothed, it should undergo mikveh immersion and then carefully wrapped for later holy temple construction. So by using living water, the temple in effect has descended from heaven. The Kinneret is full to overflowing to provide all the water required, plus also for all of Israel's citizens. If the above suggestion is workable with maybe the odd rabbinical tweaking here and there, the building blocks can be begun to be cut if current water technologies are fit for purpose. The MoShiach null hypothesis and the final redemption part 23 are Rabbanim are repeating the same call, but now with one voice. That the true MoShiach is here and the final redemption can happen at any moment. Why do I call this the MoShiach null hypothesis? Very simple. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu, the true MoShiach would have been trying with all his might to prove to God and more importantly himself that he is not the true MoShiach. Unlike all the other prospective MoShiach, either in private or online, doing the complete opposite. Crying out to the world that they are the MoShiach. This brings me back the MoShiach web. All these prospective MoShiach are being used by God to make the world ready. Now like in Egypt, the nation of Israel are screaming, and no doubt God has seen the affliction of my people. And he is descending to rescue them from the hands of injustice. After feeling the cries of the children of Israel, Therefore, just like Moshe Rabbeinu, God will send the true MoShiach, and God will be with him. It is also written that Eliyahu Hanavi will come just before or a few days after, to be the confirmation that the true MoShiach is our representative of our true King, the God of all existence. On a final note, the true MoShiach would never stop trying to prove the null hypothesis. The MoShiach soul's travels to become MoShiach Ben-Dovid Part 30.2. When looking at this amazingly complicated, and you will see very controversial theory, you have to look at every faith or belief system starting from today. See how it is developed, what insights does it give us to the mind of God. Some faiths may have gone in a very straight and controlled line through time. Others may have gone around in circles or even chopped and changed their original teaching as time went on. Well, God is not bound by time and space, so what have known does know and will always know. How we all think, what we do in secret and what we hide from others. Because everything we do is all contained within the mind, for better use of a word in God. Here is the controversial mind-bender bit. The MoShiach soul travels through time to carry out a mission for a people or a nation. Adam contained a MoShiach soul first to be able to become a small part of every human being's DNA. Like a master key to everyone's soul for his future missions. He is known by many other names, with a mission for the future of a nation around the world, planting words and ideas to affect the worldview and thinking of generations of believers. So if you look today at the three most famous monotheistic religions or ways of seeing God, you have the original being Judaism and the God of the nation of Israel. Then you have Christianity and the Father, Son and Holy Ghost. And finally you have Islam and the acknowledgement of the other two, plus their belief in a final prophet Muhammad. The MoShiach soul, which is a direct part of God and our souls come to us from God via the MoShiach soul, was embodied within Moshe Rabbeinu, King David, Jesus or Yeshua, Muhammad and finally MoShiach Ben-Dovid. As you can see, it goes around to make a full circle. Both Judaism, Christians and Muslims are now awaiting the return of the MoShiach soul to lead the world spiritually forward. However, both Christianity and Islam need to understand that this time around he will be 100% Jewish and a direct descendant of King David. And that God controls the Satan, otherwise known as the angel of death. I am sure many will have a mental meltdown of some description on hearing these words. But like I said, look backwards through time and ask yourself a very simple question. Why would God allow Judaism, Christianity and Islam to be born and flourish around the entire world? Unless it was for some higher purpose, to teach the Torah in a way different peoples could digest and accept, given their past belief systems and practices. In regards to a false MoShiach, many have tried and failed and the world never ended. The earth is and always will be our reward from God, but will become elevated spiritually. Just as soon as we all in the future accept the return of Moshe Rabbeinu, Jesus or Yeshua and the Prophet Muhammad. All contained within Adam, the MoShiach soul, the father of us all. Who God willing will become known to the world during the next Hebrew year as MoShiach Ben-Dovid is his title for now. Until we all discover his new name in this lifetime.
Sunday, February 21st, 2219 Adar, based on Israel time 6 p.m. in the evening of the same moment. All Jews and children of Adam will cry out as one for MoShiach prayer to call for Hashem to send the MoShiach as soon as possible. Master of the universe, the children of Adam and Israel, all united around the world at this moment, are crying out to you. Please accept our prayer with grace and kindness. We sincerely thank you for all your daily blessings, but we also thank you for sending the MoShiach to redeem us now from COVID-19 and with mercy from this long exile and suffering. Please bring peace to the world. Can't wait anymore. We also desire your grace and one name to be revealed and your presence back to rebuild Hashem Holy Temple. Shema Israel Adonai Elohim Nu Adonai Cad. Hear Israel, Hashem our God, Hashem is one.
MoShiach Era Meditations: How to Overpower Your Evil Inclination Part 2. The symbol for both Jerusalem and the tribe of Judah is a roaring lion. Whenever you feel your evil inclination is starting to affect your own free will, try to imagine in your mind two lions appearing by your side to protect and defend you from any negative thoughts you may be having. If needed, imagine you're one of the lions attacking your evil inclination into becoming subdued. It can never be removed as it aids you also in your free will, and at such times it is a loyal friend. Over time you may or may not on the imaginary level be able to turn the evil inclination to work in harmony with your good inclination. This will bring you much closer on your inner journeys in coming ever closer to Hashem. Over time, with repeated meditations, you should be able to then visualize these lions whenever needed to help you along your path towards GD, which in truth is a never-ending story. The MoShiach in the Laws of Kings Part 30. The Torah quite clearly states that at some point, as in distant times, that the nation of Israel will want to restart the kingship process again within the land of Israel. Due to this becoming an ever-increasing possibility, with many factors seen and unseen coming into play leading up to Elul 5780 and taking us as a nation of Israel into the new year of Rosh Hashanah 5781, it would only seem right to as best as possible look lightly into the laws of kings. The nation of Israel will say, I will set a king over myself, like all the nation around me. The Torah then goes on to say, you shall set a king over you, one whom the Lord your God chooses from among your brothers. You shall set a king over yourself. You shall not appoint a foreigner over yourself, one who is not your brother. And my personal opinion only, a foreigner is someone who does not believe or refuses to accept the God of the nation of Israel. A Jew is someone who does accept the God of Israel, and that the nation of Israel are his tribe. A brother is someone who is a full member of the tribe of Israel by birth or tribal initiation, follows all the laws of the tribe and its elders or sages, and most importantly knows the God of Israel and is spiritually bonded to him. If someone undergoes tribal initiation but is not spiritually bonded to the God of Israel, they would still be a Jew in God's eyes, even if legally they have nation of Israel tribal membership. And the MoShiach with God at his side would be able to determine who is a foreigner, Jew, nation of Israel member, and his status within the tribe of Israel. A MoShiach Era Purim Wish 1992 Kibbutz Yavin 3 MONTHS 1995 to 1997 Kibbutz Yavin 2 YEARS 1999 to 2000 Aliyah to Byte Canada JERUSALEM 2016 Sukkot to 2016 Chanukami Future Plan is Summer 2022. All previous attempts ended with Hashem forcing me to leave Israeli suffer from neurological conditions that have a direct effect on my mobility both indoors and outside, making me only able to move indoors a very short distance for basic need of lefet o travel anywhere. I have to use a special power chair with powered seat rise and recline. I am forced to use adult diapers for minor leakage and to help hold in position a dressing for a painfully recent healed up woundy need supported housing and social services supported. I am unable to work and require state benefits to pay for all my needs, plus I am currently going through bankruptcy for £75,000. This ends around the middle of November 2021. If anyone is able to help with my return back to Israel and assist in the same level of support anywhere in Israeli, would be eternally grateful. Me contact details are kibbutzYuvn@gmail.com. MoShiach Era and the quantum cosmic internet scientists are moving ever closer to seeing how Hashem mind interconnects with the physical universe. Developments in solving quantum networking like any computer network mimic the known functions of the human brain. Purdue University engineers have addressed an issue in the development of quantum networks. This has very great possibilities over time to be able to form a direct connection to the mind of the creator. The creator's imagination does have divine nodes throughout the physical universe, to be able to maintain existence. New research by John Ellis and Mare Eklewicki of King's College London are working on cosmic string interconnections, which from a spiritual manifestation point of view can be classed as cosmic quantum nodes to the divine min. So now we have the ever-increasing likelihood of Earth quantum evolving quantum internet one day being able to log into the divine spiritual internet. The key to understanding this better is the human brain and neuron transmission and applying the same understanding to cosmic settings and quantum networking. This is how the Creator was able to form communications with the prophets of old and the MoShiach via cosmic quantum networking communications. MoShiach Era. When two worlds collide, spiritual nodes. The tree of life should be more viewed like a cluster of grapes, and instead of seeing pathways or channels, it should be viewed more like one grape in direct contact with another. The pathways could be viewed as the vine interconnecting stems. Each cluster of grapes is a soul connected to the main vine, which is Hashem. Hashem in His mercy formed a connection directly from the crown directly to His kingdom here on earth. How was this achieved? By means of the tabernacle constructed by Moshe, otherwise known as Moses, later by means of the temples built on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem. Once the final living temple is built, a new connection will be formed back in the world again. The final living temple will crown Hashem as the creator of all existence, leading to mankind's spiritual evolution and all of the physical universe. Then enable mankind to progress further along the vine of existence, ever closer to the Creator, and, as a part of this process, within a very short time of the re-establishment of this connection to earth, resurrection of the dead will take place, with new vines forming to simulate the time of their understanding. It will then become possible to in effect travel back in time only from the point of your last created being. So in effect a barrier is formed to not travel forward from the world you can comprehend, but all of past history will too spiritually evolve, at which point physical existence would become so spiritualized that time will be dissolved completely, leading to mankind becoming a new form of created being, but still with a self-identity, and still then continuing on yet another cycle of evolution beyond any words. May Hashem bless Muhammad Alawi family in the Old City, who in 1999 granted me an unofficial key to the Old City, granting me full access to all the holy sites due to their family's prominence, and Hashem granting me very good fortune to enter Jerusalem in peace and left in peace. All thanks to me coming from the home of Robin Hood in Nottingham. And they are all crazy for the tale of Robin Hood. Looking at today, one could imagine holding some kind annual medieval Robin Hood type jousting event. Would be good for unifying the people of Jerusalem and tourism. This could be held outside of the walls of the Old City, having both traditional Arabic and Israeli food stalls in medieval garb. At the beginning, depending on interest, Palestinian Israelis and Jewish Israelis could compete in friendly reenactments based on the tales of Robin Hood and Ivanhoe. Later, international countries could come for some kind of world championship medieval jousting event. This would encourage team building within the community of the people of Jerusalem to put together bigger and much grander events from one year to the next, all focused on the honor of the winning team choosing a person from the crowd to becoming king or queen of Jerusalem for the day, and fitted out with some kind of appropriate royal costume for the following day. This would most likely be the highlight after the tournament has finished the previous day, with some kind of parade through New and Old Jerusalem. The MoShiach must be thinking, mission failure. We know from all the rabbis now that he is alive and well and living among us. He was Adam, the first man whose breath of life given to him was the MoShiach soul, Hashem very first creation, before Hashem started creating everything else within his existence. Therefore, he is the father of us all, even though now he is a descendant of himself. One can only imagine the pain he must be feeling and going through, seeing his relatives, all of mankind, suffering and dying from COVID-19 especially. Now we live in an age where young and old of all the human race can, if the wish, talk or read about each other. In my own view, only what would mission failure result in? Well, we know Hashem has promised to fulfill all the words of the Torah. So in my view only it could result in a new timeline with everything from the start of creation up to some point in time and space in our past, which could result in the individuals today, including myself, to never have existed at all. Or maybe we will, but would have made better choices and actions in our lives to move forward to the successful arrival stage of Eliyahu Hanavi and the true Moshiach. If this is true, we may have a feeling, if only for a brief moment, that we seem to be reliving a moment in time again. Will we make the same mistakes and have to try again? Who knows? But hopefully, if the Moshiach is thinking mission failure, that Hashem will think it is now time for mankind to once again see his divine light shine visibly in the world again. Government of the State of Israel needs to develop kingship qualities. The Israeli government should cover everyone's loss of pay or income and think of themselves last. The government should act like a king and care for all who live in Israel's borders. All governments around the world are dealing with the great difficulties COVID-19 is causing to everyone. The government should act like a king and care for all who live in Israel's borders, and not act like a ruler that will and is being rejected by the people. That is called dictatorship. You work with the people to enact justice as well as politics. Try to be more like the head and heart of the people. You need the people to be your body, to give life to your head and heart, to move your hands and feet to get us all through these challenging times. Focus on seeing and doing acts of justice plus defending Israel. Because, what point is there in defending Israel if the country is falling to pieces? Do not all fight to be rulers, but work on even pretending to put others before yourselves and truly unite to form kingship qualities. Become acceptable to the people once again and yourselves. Finally, even if you do not believe in Hashem, at least fear history. The Battle of Gog of Magog has been debated about for thousands of years. However, in the world of COVID-19, we could possibly view it in a new light today. Could be both a spiritual war and a physical war all rolled up into one. Many rabbis are repeating the call, the Moshiach is in the doorway. But most notably Rabbi Ner Ben Artzi, clear voice for prophetic insight, has been announcing to the world that the Moshiach has been pushed forward to reveal himself, which can only mean we now have both the true Moshiach and someone who is blessed in Hashem's eyes to anoint him. This leaves the question of who could be MoShiach Ben-Yosef. We know from tradition that MoShiach Ben-Yosef could be killed in the war against Gog of Magog. If Gog of Magog turns out to be COVID-19, then MoShiach Ben-Yosef could only be one person, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Does this mean he could possibly die from COVID-19? Well, in truth, so could I or you as it stands at the moment, so that is one possibility. Or could it be a metaphor for political failure or possible imprisonment? All these variables are indeed in play if we believe MoShiach Ben-Dovid is being made known today. And finally, MoShiach Ben-Yosef could have a happy ending by helping MoShiach Ben-Dovid as his viceroy and friend to bring about the kingdom of Israel back into the world again. MoShiach enters game is to crown Hashem as king. I can only speak from my own point of view on this subject, and any fine print and deeper details will come from the true Moshiach, Eliyahu Hanavi, and Hashem. As I mentioned very briefly in my last post, if you really want to see Hashem.he, his existence and is everywhere. But his essence is on the other side of black holes, the physical universe we live in and explore, is known as Malkuth, which is the physical manifestation of the divine mind of Hashem. All the other spirit are not just a blueprint of the divine mind, but a map to other universes beyond our own, that can only be reached by a spiritual evolutionary process, by spiritualizing the physical universe or Malkuth. To bring this about, divine energy from Hashem crown has to have a home to become manifested within our reality. The home has already been designated by Hashem and is the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Once the Holy Temple is rebuilt and functioning properly, a strong influx of divine energy coming directly from Hashem crown will start to bring about a perfection of the physical universe. The planet Earth will become transformed and a resurrection of the dead will begin. This will start a long, slow spiritual evolutionary process to enable all of mankind to be able to leave this known universe into the next. Therefore, the Holy Temple could be viewed as a spiritual machine, and the Torah is a blueprint to enable all of mankind to spiritually evolve into another universe, coming ever closer to our Creator. The true MoShiach and the hidden ones all the nation of Israel knows is what has been handed down by our tradition. Any deductions made by the best minds in Judaism are just that. But we are taught to follow what our own rabbis and dayanim teach us in our respective communities. Now in truth there will be differences of opinion to do with minor issues. However, what any prospective MoShiach has to be viewed as accomplishing all revolve around the successful building of Hashem Temple in Jerusalem. As I have stated above, for anyone to actually achieve this requires Hashem to be with that individual, they have to be bonded. Let me explain. We are taught that everyone has an evil inclination and a good inclination. This came about due to Adam metaphorically eating from the tree of knowledge. Now this is a very good example of rabbinic debate on what fruit tree was it. In truth no one knows, and some would argue it was not a tree at all, but symbolical explanation that we have the knowledge to learn by our mistakes. However, in my view only, we are also taught that we have an angel on each of our shoulders. For anyone to move forward as a prospective MoShiach, they must be in direct communication with both their angels. One that will praise you for doing good and one that will praise for doing bad. Only those chosen by Hashem can hear them and learn to communicate with them. Those that succeed become the hidden ones or hidden tzaddikim. You may have heard about them in breaking Israel news articles. Some have come forward, which is unheard of due to them never being able to say who they are. If one should, he could be replaced, but we are at a turning point where this is all changing by the day almost, and I am sure more will come forward. But many will come forward thinking they are one when they are not. Just as many will and do come forward claiming to be the true MoShiach. In my personal opinion, only the true MoShiach would have to be the head of the hidden ones or hidden tzaddikim working unseen at this time. Most likely awaiting the arrival of Eliyahu Hanavi, otherwise known as the prophet Elijah. As we enter the 3 weeks of mourning the destruction of Hashem Holy Temple, the 17th of Tammuz, Shiva Asar Tammuz, is a Jewish fast day commemorating the breach of the walls of Jerusalem before the destruction of the Second Temple. It falls on the 17th day of the Hebrew month of Tammuz and marks the beginning of the 3-week mourning period leading up to Tisha B'Av. Like other minor fasts, Tzom Tammuz begins at dawn, first light, and ends at nightfall, full dark. May Hashem bless us all soon to see it rebuilt to bring down a much-needed divine blessings back into the physical world. By slowly spiritualizing the physical into a more peaceful world of coexistence, knowing Hashem is visible again on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. MoShiach Ben-Dovid, care of Foreign Affairs, building Gvat Ram, Jerusalem, Israel. Write to the MoShiach today. Why not? Because we do not know who he is. So we pray to Hashem and place notes in the Kotel to speed up the coming of the MoShiach. What else can we do? You can write to him at this address. MoShiach Ben-Dovid, care of CC Foreign Affairs, building Gvat Ram, Jerusalem, Israel. What good will that do, I hear you ask? Every day we pray and ask Hashem to send us our Jewish king to turn the state of Israel into the kingdom of Israel. Hashem responds to our free will and the merit of our good deeds. By sending a letter to our future king at this address, you are sending a direct message to Hashem, our future king, the Israeli government, and the world, that we are now ready. So be you a world leader, chief rabbi, hidden tzedek, or just a run-of-the-mill member of the nation of Israel such as myself. Let Hashem and our future king MoShiach Ben-Dovid know that of our own free will, we need you now. MoShiach Era, nights of counting Rosh Chodesh Nisan to Passover 5781. Passover 2021 starts sundown on Saturday, March 27th. Full moon last Passover 5780. To this one we are all looking for redemption from COVID-19 so that we can move on from a year of protecting ourselves and loved ones from the angel of death sent out by Hashem. Cannot fathom in the least why the year has been as it is, but it has brought out the very best in all of us, both as individual, governments and nations. The national debt in creating a safe and effective vaccine has been nothing short of a modern-day miracle. Nisan is seen as a month of living water. May Hashem bless us all with the start that this month symbolizes for the living water to enter all of the homes of the nations of the earth again.
Hashem, very first creation. I will attempt to highlight the impossible because in truth it is like some sci-fi movie. Imagine an alien intelligence that created the whole universe and everything in it. But outside of time and space created a being we know as the spirit of the MoShiach. This created being was placed into existence in the body of Adam to live in Eden, or what we now call Earth. Most of you know, he was given a mission to watch over the garden forever. After he took the fruit from the tree of knowledge he became mortal. So after dying he is reincarnated again and again to fulfill his mission. To be a point in space and time for the Creator to maintain the physical part of existence. In other words, he is like a spiritual Wi-Fi receiver for the Creator to bring souls into the world, to then travel into the bodies of all new members of humanity. So he is always the father of us all, generation after generation. What we do know is he was Adam, then others, before being King David, then others, and will finally be the MoShiach. He is only a man but contains within him a special divine spark that will enable him at the appointed time, when the earth reaches a designated position in space and time, to connect the holy temple with the Creator's divine existence, to become manifest again for all time on earth, after which time mankind will undergo a spiritual evolutionary process of perfection to be able to come ever closer to knowing the Creator like the first being or the MoShiach.
MoShiach Era event Israeli elections 2021. Personally, I believe the people have spoken with around 60 seats for the anti-Netanyahu bloc, around 53 seats for the pro-Netanyahu bloc, and the kingmaker Yamina with 7 seats. These are all only exit poll results, and the numbers can change, but from the last 3 elections in the past 2 years something has to change, and that can only be achieved with a total change in government outlook. Therefore, Yamina should join the anti-Netanyahu bloc to cause a rush of fresh air into Israel, and for Netanyahu to look towards being our future president of Israel. I have personally met and talked to him in 1999 on my arrival to Jerusalem, and I do view him as MoShiach Ben-YoSef. He is no doubt a genius, but all leaders have to let a new generation replace them, and I see now as the time. But for him to become president of Israel would be a win-win situation in my eyes. MoShiach Era return of the exiles. In my personal opinion, only believe it is time for the return of the exiles are at the very door of Passover today. Use this past year of COVID-19 to take the divine decree from Hashem. Remember, only 20% did in fact follow Moses out of Egypt. No, it going to be a massive life-changing event to pull up and just make a Aliyah, or even just pack a suitcase, buy a ticket, and declare you wish to make Aliyah at Ben Gurion Airport. But all the nation of Israel of all streams have heard the voice of Hashem this past year. You have free will like in Egypt to stay or leave. I believe 5782 will be a relatively trouble-free year for you to travel. When you say on Seder night and you say next year in Jerusalem, do not turn it into a lie, mean it, and move heaven and earth to return. Hashem has given us all notice, so listen and open your hearts and minds, and be your own MoShiach for your family or community. Motamil Simcha.